MidJourney continues to be the top AI generator, and they have made huge waves. If you've been following this story, not just because they're continuing to release new models, and the quality of MidJourney images are just, I think, second to none. But the big thing, why did people not love MidJourney? People didn't love MidJourney because you have to go through this thing called Discord. Didn't even know it existed. Took me forever to figure out. And now I'm just getting caught up on this. Holy cow, they now are making it open to everybody. It looks like they're kind of starting to go around Discord. Jaden, I know that you've been talking about this a ton on LinkedIn, everywhere else. Tell me what this story is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the biggest part, like you mentioned, with Discord is the Discord element. I still am. My mind is blown that it's taken them over a year as $100 million plus company still running like all their infrastructure through Discord. I have no idea what the agreement is, if Discord's giving them some sort of kickback for
Yeah.
bringing in millions and millions of new users, or if they're just like saving, if they were saving money on like bandwidth by going through the Discord server. No idea. It was pretty wild for a second, but all of that is done, so everyone can be excited. Maybe they'll have an API coming down the road that would be extra exciting. But regardless, the amazing news now, you can hop on their website and just go use their service like a normal human using a normal service on a normal company's website. So yay, they're being normal. And it's funny because if they weren't the best image generator by a lot, like if they weren't absolutely crushing it, I would never tell anyone to use them ever because the
Right.
experience
Right.
was so bad in the past. But they were the best, so I still told people to use it. Today though, that is there's no more reason to not like them. They've also added a bunch of really cool new features that I have been testing out and looking at some demos of and have been super impressed with. The first one is image editing. So I swear I saw demos of Adobe doing this kind of stuff with Photoshop a while back, maybe 6 months ago. I don't know. The problem with like Adobe doing stuff in Photoshop is it's still
Yeah, you
Photoshop.
need Photoshop, right?
Yeah, and like I pay for Photoshop. Like I haven't opened the freaking app. I pay for like the Adobe, like all the Adobe stuff or whatever. But and I'm like actually really good because I've used them since I was a teenager. I grew up on all the Adobe stuff, but I actually hate them and I avoid them at all costs because they're so complex. Like
Yeah.
there's so many buttons. I never go to Photoshop. I use Canva instead because
Yeah.
Canva is so much easier. And so, anyways, I think this is where MidJourney is actually going to beat Adobe in a big way. The big new feature that I love is you go to any image and they have a little eraser. So you generate an AI image of, I don't know, like someone on the beach drinking a pina colada, and you use the eraser and you erase an area, like let's say around their shoulder, and there's a prompt box where you type in and say generate a parrot on this person's shoulder, and a red parrot with a blue beak. Like you be as descriptive as you want. You're generating images within images essentially, and it generates it right inside of that erased area, which is really cool. You can highlight the sky and say, add clouds, and like, oh, add like the moon in the background, or add like an airplane in the background. Like it's just so cool. You just use the eraser, you erase a strip of the photo, and it will generate whatever you want inside of that erased area. So that's the first cool feature. And I think this is so good. It would have solved all the problems. Remember back in the day when they would generate hands and they were like looked mangled?
Six
It
fingers.
would have solved that problem. You could erase the mangled hand and say
Right.
generate a normal hand. They don't need that anymore because they fixed that. But like it does a lot more. This is pretty awesome.
But it's also amazing because to your point, a lot of times you'll create an image and it's so perfect except for one tiny thing. So that's huge.
Yeah.
You're right that Adobe has had that. They have sort of like it's like their lasso feature or whatever, where you could say, "Hey, now make a unicorn on the street" or something like that. So I know Adobe had some great demos around that. I'm with you. I learned how to use Photoshop a few years ago. Just so complicated, not intuitive. But even with MidJourney. So getting over the hump into Discord was tricky. But then even when you're in there, just the interface was not that great. So I mean, for me, I have my company AI Mindset. I'm also at NYU Stern, of course, but like my company AI Mindset, I work with Robert Haslam, who's like the legendary designer, and he does all my images. He does a ton for me. He's like the most amazing AI guy that I've ever met. But the thing that he does, like, he just understands all the parameter stuff on Midjourney. So what he produces is spectacular, spectacular. But he knows it. He's like an artist and graphic designer and AI expert, all that kind of stuff. The problem is for normal people, like you can sort of put something in, but you can see that just out of arm's length, basically arm's reach, sorry, was this incredible capability because even just with like, me kind of pounding my fist on the keyboard, I could produce unbelievable stuff. So first of all, it's the getting in around Discord. The other thing that I was seeing, Jaden, from this article that you had sent me around this, I think it was Venture, was the fact that you can start organizing your images too. Because like right now, it's just you kind of scroll back up, and that's not bad for
Oh
me
my
because
god.
I create like some Midjourney images, but I know people, and the people who say that who do Midjourney really well, they say one of the keys is you iterate over and over and
Yeah.
over and over again. So for those folks to not have had a folder function seems insane. So it just feels like it's also getting. By the way, Midjourney keeps releasing new models too. But it just feels like this is, and Jaden, you and I talk about this all the time. AI is half the battle is the interface problem, right? With AI. And this feels like it's starting to solve that, right?
Yeah, 100%. It just it needed to be its own app to do what normal software could do. And so I think that this is really exciting. A lot of the things, I even feel like ChatGPT has some of these exact same problems. So I don't want to hate too much on Midjourney because like, why doesn't ChatGPT let you organize your chats into folders?
Right,
And like, why doesn't ChatGPT let you search through your chats?
right.
Like, there's just
Yeah.
some like basic things, and I'm like, come on. Anyways, whatever. So Midjourney added the folders thing. I think that's great. The real Midjourney power user at my house is actually my wife. She uses it for
Yeah.
like so many projects. Um, and it's really funny because I'm like, sometimes I'll go see her like using it on the computer. She's generating. She does like PDFs for like different things for like homeschool for our kids. She's like generating like images, like coloring books for the kids, and like she uses it for like everything, and it's awesome. She's really good at it at this point. Really good with all the parameters. But it's funny because I was watching her use it on Discord the other day, and I'm like, "How are you getting all your images?" She's like, "Oh, well, I watched this like 20-minute tutorial, and I figured out how to make like a custom channel on Discord so that
Right.
anytime I generate something on Midjourney, it automatically added to the channel
Right.
so I could like save it so I wouldn't lose it." And it's just like,
It's
I'm like, this
exhausting.
is so complicated and ridiculous that you have to do that. A lot of that is now solved. The folders thing's awesome because you can sort it by project. I mean, even her solution was just like all your images are in one chat. Because if you've used the Midjourney Discord before, I'm sure you've pounded your fist on the table by the fact that you're in a channel. You ask it to generate something, and then there's like 50 other people in the same channel, and you have to like try to scroll through all of their stuff as well, which is just ridiculous. Hoping that you can go scroll back up and find like wherever yours got generated.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? It's one of these things where every time like I've learned one little new thing, it just took so long just to learn that within Discord. But so here's the other thing, Jaden, because you have a new course out ostensibly around podcasting. But if you know Jaden, you know that this is not about podcasting. I mean, it is, but Jaden is this mad scientist, growth hacker. So Jaden, I'm also wondering, when you think about Midjourney and you're watching your wife, who, by the way, is not just an artist, but also a musician, et cetera, a singer, and everything else. But you have done all these businesses, everything else, and you have other podcasts around this kind of stuff. When you're thinking about Midjourney, because this is AI applied, what are people not thinking about? People who think, well, I don't really need image generation. Like for you, when you're sort of seeing like the average person walking away from this podcast thinking like, well, that's cool, but I don't really need it. What do you see either out in the business world, the content creation world, what people aren't thinking about, where image generation, especially super high quality image generation, can really make a difference in their world?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think that the beauty of that Midjourney is now solving is replacing stock images essentially. It's so I mean, as far as like people thinking they don't need it, like everyone needs images for something. Whether you're doing a presentation at work and you want to make your PowerPoint look good, like custom images obviously make it so much better than blank text,
Yeah,
so much more engaging. And I see that's like something I've seen a lot of people do is Midjourney generated images. Whether it's a background texture, Midjourney does a great job, or an image of like an actual thing that they're talking about. Midjourney does a pretty good job. I've actually used it to help come up with um, actual app designs for me. So I'm like, hey, I'm designing an app that does X, Y, and Z. Can you come up with like some like sketches of how this would actually look, or the homepage of this type of website would look? And it does actually a really amazing job of that.
cool.
That I have given to my designers in the past, especially for AI Box. I'm like, okay, the homepage, like kind of do like this thing that Midjourney came up with, right? And then they go take the rough draft and make something amazing with it, and like Figma or something that's like actually editable for the developers. but yeah, no, I think it's an incredible starting point, and yeah, it can be used for literally anything. If you are writing articles on LinkedIn and you want to come up with the cover images for it, I mean, even if you go to someone like VentureBeat right now, like a massive news company, every single cover image on
Yeah,
VentureBeat
it's
now is
all AI now.
generated by MidJourney, pretty much.
You know,
So
yeah,
um,
and Jaden, you had mentioned this. I think it was in this episode, earlier in this episode. Sorry, we talked so much that sometimes I get confused. But Canva as well, right? Canva is
yeah,
incredibly easy to use. If you used to use Canva and you're like, I don't use it, guys, go back to Canva because it's incredibly easy. It also has great AI stuff. And that's the other thing, right? Like you can take a Midjourney image, which is phenomenal, throw it into Canva, and then you can manipulate it there too.
yeah.
And that sounds more complicated than it is. Believe me, I'm not tech at all, but I've watched people do this and I now do it. It's so simple. So Midjourney can also just be um, a starting point, right? For some of the work that you're doing, right?
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think so, especially because they don't have an API right now, so they're not integrated into
Right,
anything.
right.
Kind of like the original source for the content, and then you move it to wherever you edit, whether that's PowerPoint or whatever. And there's a lot of these, a lot of these platforms that do integrate with a image generator, like ChatGPT's Dolly. But honestly, it's like 30 or 40% less powerful than
Yeah,
Midjourney, or
yeah.
the results are less good, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I think if you are generating anything on image, you should be trying Midjourney right now. Um, there's a couple good alternatives that I've seen as well. Flux is pretty good, to be honest. Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, Midjourney is pretty great. So
Yeah.
I think definitely give it a try if you haven't already. Now with their new website, now is the time to get on it. And this is going to be the best AI generated images you ever make are going to be on Midjourney.
100%. I can't wait to try it. I haven't tried out the website yet. I'm excited. Uh, Listen, guys, if you liked this podcast or if you just appreciate anything that we ever say ever and you feel like doing us a favor, if you would consider leaving a rating and review, it means the world to us. I swear. I just read like a new one a couple days ago and it just filled my heart. I just assume that my mom is like writing all of these, but somehow she's coming up with new names. But definitely do that if you can. Definitely also, I'm just going to quick shout out. Check out Jillian Schaefer. She's on Spotify. She's probably on Amazon too. Jaden's better half and the more brilliant side of that couple. So much brilliance in the Schaefer household. But listen, thank you so much for joining us on today's AI Applied, and we'll see you.